humans have always tried to use history to support their current agenda, right?
Yeah.
And this is just that happening on a scientific level.
Yes, but it's so petty.
Yeah.
It's
not productive, is it?
And it's such a waste of time. How much more interesting it would be, rather than archaeology simply trying to dismiss me as a crank, as a pseudoscientist, and as a supporter of racism and white supremacy. Why not get to grips a bit with the ideas that are involved here? Why not consider the possibility that there might be a lost civilization deep in our background? The Ice Age was a very strange time. It was a very tumultuous time. And the end of the Ice Age was a huge global cataclysm. There's just no doubt about that whatsoever. And weirdly, the beginnings of what archaeologists think of as civilization begin immediately after the end of the Ice Age, 11,600 years ago, Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, the appearance of agriculture there. I think what we're looking at is a reboot of civilization at the end of the Ice Age. I think something was lost during the Ice Age. There were survivors. They attempted to reboot, and we're seeing the evidence for that. I don't think we're seeing the origins of civilization at the end of the Ice Age. I think we're seeing a reboot of a civilization that existed previously.
Now, why don't they go to the locations you went at each episode of the series and have these conversations with you? Because it's fascinating. You went on location in so many different places around the world. Wouldn't that be a way to debate you? And I know you've asked for someone to
let me be
you.
clear about that. Well, yes. First of all, I'm very willing to debate. There is a particular archaeologist who's called John Hoops at the University of Kansas, who's been stalking my work for 30 years, very much involved in a pseudo-archaeologist and pseudo-scientist thing, and who even before the Netflix series was released, had Kansas University put out a press release saying that he was ready to talk to the press about how my work supports racism and white supremacy. This is even before he's seen the series, a series which, once he's seen it, he discovers that there is actually no mention of race whatsoever in the series. Then he claims to know my mind and says that Hancock is simply cleverly disguising his racist views by not mentioning him. So whether I mention race or not, he's determined to label me as a racist and as a white supremacist. Now, when I was on the Joe Rogan Experience with Randall Carlson and Joe a few weeks ago, Joe suggested, why not have a debate? And we've done a debate on the Joe Rogan Show before with Michael Shermer, which was quite an interesting debate, actually.
Yeah, it's good.
And we put out that call. But it became clear to me that the majority of archaeologists who'd responded to that call were not people who'd been engaged with my work, were not people who had been following my work for 30 years, who pronounced themselves in a press release as an expert on my work, and who'd labeled me as a racist and white supremacist. So my feeling was the person I want to debate live on the Joe Rogan Experience in front of millions of people is John Hoops from the University of Kansas. Let him put his money where his mouth is. He's been saying all these things about me from behind his keyboard. He's been doing everything possible to smear my name and my reputation. If he really feels strongly about it, if he really has something to support what he's saying, let him sit in front of me in a live recorded debate. Let him sit in front of me and we'll talk it out face to face. So I issued that invitation and he immediately declined. He says, I have nothing to debate with you. I don't debate metaphysics with science. But he's willing to spend 30 years smearing my work, but he's not willing to meet me face to face. That, in my view, I call a spade a spade. That is cowardice. That is intellectual cowardice, the unwillingness to back up one's loud mouth in a face-to-face encounter is cowardice. And I'm not going to debate any other archaeologist live on Joe Rogan's show. The moment that John Hoops, my principal critic, chooses to come out of the shadows and meet me face to face, I will debate him on the Joe Rogan Experience, and Joe has made that platform available for that. But I don't want any of these other minor figures who are simply trying to ride off my reputation to boost their own profile. I want the main antagonist, and that's John Hoops from the University of Kansas, and John Hoops from the University of Kansas is a coward.
And I would say, John, if you're watching and listening to this, you probably will, is that you'll get a fair shot on that show, and
Absolutely.
Joe's had you and Shermer before, and that's actually probably one of the fairest places you could go and have an open-ended debate where you could talk for 2-3 hours and really get to the heart of it. And it's probably the best chance you would have. For the whole
exactly.
scientific
If
community.
John Hoops believes so strongly in his own position, he's got an incredible opportunity to put it forward there. He's got the opportunity, if he's in a strong position, he's got the opportunity to defeat me in a debate, to do a great service for archaeology, which he claims to be doing. But he won't do it. And that speaks to me of something very strange about this individual and about archaeology in general, because the best way to sort out a disagreement like this is face-to-face in a 3-hour conversation. Then the weaknesses and flaws in each side will become apparent. They can't be hidden in any way. And I'm ready for that, but unfortunately, my principal archaeological critic, John Hoops from the University of Kansas, is too cowardly to participate in that debate.
The greedy bankers are about to do it again. In 2008, they crashed our financial system and nearly bankrupted the entire global economy. Then they received trillions of dollars in government bailouts. And after, they demanded fat bonuses paid for by you, the taxpayer.
It turns out the banks haven't just been screwing the American taxpayers, they're also screwing over their investors. Turns out the banking industry is the worst place you could put your money, despite enormous taxpayer bailouts.
Now the bankers are back to take away your financial freedom. They lie and tell you that cryptocurrency isn't safe. They try to make it illegal for you to choose how to invest your hard-earned money. They lie and say cryptocurrency is used by money launderers and criminals. But look at the record. It's the banks themselves that launder hundreds of billions of dollars every year to the biggest criminal operations in the world.
Leaked documents have revealed how some UK banks have helped criminals, money launderers and Russians under sanctions.
American authorities discovered that the Sinaloa cartel moved $881 million through HSBC accounts as bank officials turned a blind eye to the illegality.
The bankers lie and say cryptocurrency is not a real investment. Meanwhile, the smartest CEOs in the world are buying billions and billions of it. The truth is that banks lie about cryptocurrency because it makes them scared. The banks take $9 trillion per year of your hard-earned money, and they are worried that they will finally be exposed. They're scared because crypto means they can no longer control your money, which means they can no longer control you. They are scared because you might actually understand your money and intelligently decide what to do with it. Now is the time for us to come together, fight back, and take control. It's time to educate ourselves, our families, and our communities. Because financial education means financial freedom. We know that cryptocurrencies will help us build the new decentralized financial system of the future. A banking system that is of the people, by the people, and for the people. A banking system where access to finance is a fundamental human right. A banking system that is free and fair and welcomes all humans on this earth. The DeFi revolution is happening. We, the people, can no longer be fooled. We choose to take control of our finances. We choose to take control of our freedom. We choose to take control of our future. Join us, and let's take back our financial freedom forever.